Have you ever met someone who doesn't celebrate their birthday? No party, no posts, no cake, just another day. At first, you might think they're just being low-key or private. But here's the truth most people miss. When someone avoids celebrating their birthday, it's rarely about the date itself. It's about what that date represents. Because birthdays aren't just reminders of age, they're mirrors. They reflect our past, our present, and our feelings about the future. And for some people, that reflection can be painful. Today, we're breaking down the psychology of people who don't celebrate their birthdays, and what that silence actually reveals about how they see life, love, and themselves. Welcome back to the channel, where we decode the hidden layers of human behavior. In this episode, we're going to explore why some people emotionally disconnect from their birthdays and the 5 deep psychological reasons behind it. We'll look at what their behavior reveals about self-perception and past experiences, how you can respond with compassion if someone you care about avoids their special day, and even how you can start to rebuild a healthy relationship with your own time and worth. Let's dive in. The first reason is what I call the self-reflection avoidance effect. Most people see birthdays as a time for celebration, but for deep thinkers and emotionally complex people, a birthday is a mandatory checkpoint, a forced moment of reflection. Psychology calls this temporal self-awareness, which is the mind's ability to compare who you are right now with who you expected to be by this point in your life. For some, that comparison feels painful. Maybe they're not where they thought they'd be in their career. Maybe they're single when they hope to be married. Maybe they've lost people they wanted to celebrate with. So instead of facing that emotional audit, they just skip the day entirely. They're not really rejecting the celebration. They're avoiding the confrontation with their own expectations. It is easier to treat it as just another Tuesday than to sit with the feeling that they've fallen short. The second reason is a mindset of emotional minimalism. This is a protective shield that helps people avoid extreme feelings, both good and bad. If you've been hurt in the past when you allowed yourself to be vulnerable or joyful, that joy can start to feel risky. So they keep their emotions flat. No big highs, no big lows. The logic is simple. If I don't expect anything, I can't be disappointed. Psychologically, this connects to something called defensive pessimism, a coping mechanism that prevents emotional letdowns by intentionally lowering expectations. To an outsider, they might look calm and collected, but on the inside, it's often a state of quiet exhaustion. A birthday, with all its potential for joy and disappointment, feels like a risk they're just not willing to take. Third on our list is a powerful need for control over chaos. Some people skip birthdays for one simple, powerful reason: control. In their mind, birthdays attract chaos. Other people making plans, organizing surprises, and showering them with attention they didn't ask for. For those with anxious or introverted traits, losing control of their environment can feel deeply uncomfortable, even overwhelming. It's not that they hate kindness or appreciate the gesture less, they just hate unpredictability. By choosing not to celebrate, they reclaim control over their emotional space. In psychology, this aligns with the need for autonomy, which is one of the most powerful intrinsic drives we have as humans. To feel safe, some people would rather sacrifice a celebration than surrender control to others. The fourth reason is what I call the ghost of neglected birthdays. This group is made up of people who were shaped by neglect in their past. They stopped celebrating because growing up, no one else did. Perhaps they grew up in families that didn't value emotional expression, or where birthdays were forgotten, dismissed as unimportant, or simply a financial burden. Over time, they learned to suppress their own desire for recognition. This is a concept called learned unworthiness, the internalized belief that you don't deserve attention, care, or celebration. So now, as adults, when someone offers to celebrate them, they feel a spike of anxiety instead of joy. It's not because they don't want love or appreciation, but because they never learned how to receive it. The attention feels foreign and uncomfortable, like wearing clothes that don't fit. And the fifth reason is the existential weight of time. For the deep thinkers and philosophical souls among us, birthdays can trigger something far deeper: existential awareness. It's the stark reminder that every candle on the cake is a countdown. Another year gone. Another inch closer to the inevitable reality of mortality. These individuals don't see birthdays as celebratory milestones, they see them as markers of impermanence. It's not necessarily sadness, it's a matter of perspective. They are acutely aware that time is slipping away, and a party can feel frivolous compared to the urgency they feel to find meaning and purpose. Psychologists call this the mortality salience effect, when reminders of death make us question the value of our choices and our priorities. So when they skip the cake, it's not an act of rejection, it's an act of deep reflection. So, what do you do if you know someone who avoids their birthday? The most important thing is not to push them. Forcing a celebration on someone who doesn't want one will only reinforce their reasons for avoiding it. Instead, acknowledge them in a way that feels authentic and pressure-free. A simple, private message that says, "Hey, thinking of you today. I'm really glad you exist," can mean more than a surprise party ever could. What they often need isn't noise or a big fuss, it's quiet recognition. A moment that says, "I see you, and you matter," even when you don't feel like being the center of attention. Respecting their boundaries is the most loving thing you can do. So, if you're someone who doesn't celebrate your birthday, know this. It doesn't mean you're cold, broken, or ungrateful. It often means you think deeply about time, emotion, and meaning. But here's the truth. You don't have to celebrate loudly to honor your own life. Sometimes the quiet, internal acknowledgement, a simple thought of, "I'm still here, I'm still growing," is the most sacred celebration of all. If this resonated with you, do me a favor and hit that like button, and I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. Do you celebrate your birthday, or do you quietly skip it? Let's talk about it. And if you want to understand yourself on an even deeper level, be sure to watch this next video. Why deep thinkers struggle to feel truly happy. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, sometimes the most powerful celebrations happen in silence. See you in the next one.